Hi listeners, today at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we would experience the full moon at 7 degrees Scorpio, which would influence us for the next 2 weeks. Scorpio full moon is a power to reckon with. Anyone who has ever dealt with a Scorpio knows that everything Scorpio is a power to be reckoned with. Strength of will, driven by hurt, driven by trauma, and driven by soul's need to honestly express itself, is delivered by this Scorpio full moon. And from that strength of will, from that powerful, intense energy and motivation, we move towards a new, powerful life. We move towards healing. We move towards powerful regeneration. Behind our fears rests our greatest life. Behind our fears rests our greatest life. This full moon is conjunct Chiron in 6th house of health and healing of India. And together we pray for the healing and recovery of the country and of our planet. Over next 2 weeks, the intense motivation, power, and regenerative qualities of this full moon would bring a conclusion, a closure in our life, which triggers a rebirth of sorts. We will delve deeper into the process of this death rebirth process and the life after today. My name is Charu and I'm your host on this journey. So let's dig in. Scorpio full moon alone is powerful enough as it triggers what the sign stands for, which is death and rebirth and transformation. But what's happening along with the full moon is that Pluto is standing still. Pluto is the ruler of this full moon, as well as it's the ruler of transformation from within. It rules everything below the surface that shows up and controls the actions above the surface. Pluto standing still, about to go retrograde, gives us an additional dose of things coming to light, things coming to surface from way below the ground. Yes, the elements which are nefarious will show up. It's the Pandora's box. The good and the bad would show up. But some very deeply buried desire that has been buried either because of trauma or because of a feeling of inadequacy or because of the feeling that what you want and what you desire is taboo or untraditional to go after. That buried desire is coming out on the surface, unashamed. In the vein of being honest with you and you only, you cannot contain that desire within yourself anymore. It needs to be expressed in your life. And it's showing up right now. It will show up over the course of next 2 weeks fully. That desire gives your life meaning. That desire gives your life fuel. That desire gives you a sense of purpose. That desire is deeper than anything you have ever experienced in your life. It connects you to your own life force in the most orgasmic connection with your own soul's power. It's the constant balancing of trying to live on the surface or trying to live by your soul's desire. This constant balance, this constant thin line, you have been trying to walk. But something is tipping that balance towards the soul. Something is triggering that shift at the soul level for you, because of which you have to leave the surface values and the traditions behind. It's almost like what was stable and what was traditional is self destructing under the Uranus and Taurus transit. So you don't understand anymore what you are compromising your soul's purpose for anymore. Since what you thought was your stable and traditional self is self destructing. What are you wasting your deep seated drive and intense motivation on? Your soul is going to ask you that. This is a full moon of delving deep into your soul and asking those tough questions. Scorpio parts of our chart, of our birth chart, unlike popular belief, is where we don't have self confidence. It is a part of our chart where we have tenacity, we have the drive, but not the self confidence to go after what we desire, because at a very early age, at a very beginning, or through a set of incidents that happen, that desire has been squashed in some ways. We have the tenacity and the drive to go after it, but not the self confidence or the assurance. Then a set of traumas or deep life changing experiences create a power that we were not born with, but the one that we created through our own life experiences. Every Pluto transit strengthens the confidence and the power in that part of our life and psychology which has been traumatized and suppressed. But first, Pluto opens all possible raw wounds, and Pluto has been standing still for the last couple of days, so you would have experienced those raw wounds, so we can feel it all. Feelings have been branded as such a sign of weakness in our social construct. But feelings are our deepest connection to ourselves. They are the information of our soul. And we have been trained by social norms to shut that very communication channel down. So actively over time, we become so disconnected with our own soul, so disconnected from our own inner self. Instead of being our own best advocates, we become a slave to somebody else in the process of that. Because that disconnect with ourselves opens the door for our power to be taken away by other people. As this seemingly innocent act of suppressing what we are truly feeling, ignoring what is clearly not sitting right with us, or cowering down in the name of taking the proverbial social high road. That first act happens at a very innocent age, happens way before we are even conscious of our choices, happens way before we are even conscious of what we are doing. That is where we hand over the reins of our choices to others. And then, as the life is lived on traditional values established by somebody else, over time, in some dark night of our soul, the pain finally starts stops talking to us and starts screaming at us. For many of us, that manifests in a very visual manner in our life. Something really small ticks that pain off, cause it's been ticking unheard all its life. And in that moment, when that pain starts screaming, an umbilical cord is cut. What follows is a scene many dramatic and traumatic novels and plays have been written about. Society has so much fear of that process when that umbilical cord is cut, because it always manifests in the external world in some ways. And it's socially not accepted. It's driven from that internal screaming, almost like spirit is trying to catch our attention, saying, I run the show, not you. I, the spirit, runs your show, not you. It feels like a near-death experience to us, because the person you knew before that junction, before that experience, before that moment in your life is truly dying. And it was the constant in your life. It was the stability, the ground you stood on. It was the earth element of your life. But as you cross that threshold, a remarkable life force takes over. As a self-assured part of you arises out of this experience. Because what you have now created is truly yours. You created it organically. You were not born with it. You not only recreate your body, you recreate your mind. You reprogram your mind in this process. You stand a little sturdier. Your tone is clearer because you talk less and listen more, both to life as well as to yourself. You radiate a charisma which is tough to define, as it's not soft or natural. It's chiseled. It's crafted through hard work that has gone into rebuilding yourself when no one was looking. And from that position of self-worth, you will attract equally contented, equally powerful, equally self-assured partners and people in your life who share your mindset, this new mindset, and your new values. Who do not think intensity is either a threat or a weakness of character. Who know that those lines on your forehead have come from straining to recreate you into who you wanted to be and not what you were born as. As you progress and mature in this process of rebirth, you start blossoming in the calm of mindfulness by maintaining this connection to self through a daily practice, through meditation, through yoga, through prayer, through devotion, because they every time reconnect you back to your powerful core. The powerful core that continues to be collecting pollutants throughout the day of the soul. You detox them on a daily basis with these processes actively. And you reconnect with yourself, you reconnect with your core. That's why every powerful person that I know has a routine of this sorts because he or she detoxes itself from the soul's pollutants every single day actively. And you reconnect back to your core, to your intuition every single day through a practice. And from that powerful mindset, you attract the resources of powerful nature too. Because the resources that you have always match how worthy you feel your life is and how powerfully you feel about the purpose you are pursuing. You do get lonely in the worldly sense because you only want to be with people who have the capacity to understand you, at a soul level understand you. You want them to consume you in a very symbiotic fashion when you are with them. You merge at a soul level with them. Power plays will continue in your life as you become more powerful because the mediocre around you will wilt in your shadows because they haven't dared. And in order to get a piece of you, they would play the shadow games. You will see through them. You will connect with the powerful side, the powerful intuition side of you, which will see through those shadow games. Do not attempt to change them. Do not attempt to change other people. Do not engage with those power games. Do not shrink. Do not go back. Don't even turn back to look back. Do not ever break this connection that you are being gifted with your own life force, because that's the one that will drive you to the new beginning. And in that new beginning, your powerful others will find you, and they would live and die with you and for you and challenge you to even greater heights through their own passions. Do not ever look back from here, because there is no going back from here. That is the next 14 days. That is the Scorpio full moon. Thank you so much.